Most short form content is built backwards. People start with trends, with hooks, with editing tricks, but none of it matters if your content doesn't actually lead to people booking calls with you or buying your program. The truth is, short form is not about going viral or getting as many views as possible. It's about creating trust in 60 seconds or less. And when you build it that way, it becomes one of the fastest ways to drive qualified leads without spending hours scripting or hiring a full media team. And we've implemented this exact system for real businesses across different industries. So for example, we have one who runs a program helping restaurant owners scale up their business, and he was stuck in the feast or famine loop with content posting inconsistently and getting almost no traction. But within 4 weeks of building a simple system around his voice and offer, he was generating high quality leads on repeat for his high ticket programs. So if you want to get the same results, if not better, keep watching, because in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how we do it. But first, let's clear something up, because when you're watching top business owners on YouTube, you're seeing their views and their subscriber count skyrocket. It can be easy to think, oh, it's probably just because they're posting nonstop. But if you look closer, you'll notice that there's actually a really simple pattern that's driving those numbers. And it's something that almost nobody talks about. So here's the thing. The old Gary Vee model of pumping out 100 pieces of content a day may have worked back in 2015 if you had a team of 30 plus people behind you. But let's be real, you're not a full-time content creator, you're a business owner. And you have a company to run, clients to serve, a team to lead. So trying to keep up with that kind of volume is a guarantee for burnout, and even worse, it distracts you from the real work that actually grows your business. So what are the best creators on YouTube doing instead? Well, if you look at Alex Hormozi, he didn't just start by cranking out a ton of random shorts. Instead, he doubled down on long form content on the platform, and then he used that to do deep dives into topics that built trust. And once that trust was built, he turned long form into an entire ecosystem of shorts, carousels, and posts that kept reinforcing those themes. Another YouTuber named Dan Koe, he took a similar path, but he added his own spin to it. So he focuses on high leverage educational content once a week. That means that he's only producing one strong video, which he repurposes systematically across all platforms. So every post extends his reach without any extra effort from him. And then take a look at Vanessa Lau. She's a great example of what happens when you completely shift from a volume-first approach to a system-led strategy. She used to post daily thinking that would rack up her subscriber count, but later on she completely ditched the idea, and now she's opting to rebuild her content systems in a different way. Because of that, she came back stronger than ever, and she's been able to launch a focused strategy that drove more qualified leads while posting less. So I could go on and on with these examples, but you get the point. Right? High-performing content creators aren't scaling through sheer volume alone, they're scaling through systems and quality content. And they've actually built a structure that fits their voice and their brand. So how do you build that system for you? Well, if you start by looking at what's already working in your space, you want to pick out 5 to 7 creators who consistently get engagement, and you want to break down their content. And it doesn't have to be inside your niche either. You want to look at what kinds of hooks are they using? How are they structuring their videos? What tone or pacing keeps people watching? Then, instead of just outright copying them, you want to use those insights to build your own content library. So this acts as a bank of proven ideas and formats that you can adapt to fit your voice and audience. Now, this part alone makes content creation 10 times easier because you're not starting from a blank page and you're not guessing what's going to work. And it's one of the first things that we do when we start working with a client, because once you've got that strategy in place, everything else gets so much easier. There's no guesswork. That's when content becomes consistent, high quality, and scalable. But before anything else, you should know that there's still one silent killer that most businesses overlook. And it's the thing that quietly derails even the smartest content plans. You won't see it coming, but once it hits, everything stalls. You have to remember, even the best systems break down if you are running on empty. Because now the real threat isn't just managing your time or your energy, it's managing your mental bandwidth. And when that's maxed out, your content strategy becomes the first thing to collapse. Because when your brain is running on fumes, you're not just slower, you're scattered. You start making reactive decisions instead of strategic ones, and you overlook opportunities that could have moved the needle for you. Over time, these decisions really pile up and they start to cost you big time. So instead, what you want to try and do is follow in the footsteps of some of the best creators and the most successful business owners on the platform. So just think about it. Do you think that guys like Alex Hormozi or Russell Brunson, as busy as they are, spend hours in front of the computer editing their own videos? No, they're doing high-level work. They're focused on generating ideas, and they let their systems and their team handle everything else. That's because they know that protecting their mental bandwidth is what protects the future of their business. And look, I get it. As a leader, you feel like you need to be on top of everything. And so if you try to do this with your content, you try to do the scripting, the editing, the captioning, the posting, all of it on your own, or at least have your hands in all of it, then you're doing nothing but sabotaging your business. And at the end of the day, you're only bleeding creative energy with no real value. Which then begs the question, what's a smarter move? Well, to me, it's leverage. Or more specifically, the leverage stack. All right, so this involves 4 types of leverage that you can use to scale your brand, your content, and your revenue without scaling your workload. Okay, so number 1, capital or money, right? This is your number 1 resource for buying back your time. So instead of you grinding through every task on your own, you invest in tools and people that move faster than you could do on your own. And once you have that system set up, you can then automate the repetitive stuff through code. So this is going to be things like scheduling your content, hook generation, script formatting, SEO optimization, and even repurposing ideas across platforms. Okay? Third is labor, but then again, not everything can or should be automated. That's why you need labor. Now, when it comes to creative decisions, brand voice or final polishing, having the right team, even a small one, makes all the difference in the world. And then finally, media. This is the most powerful leverage of all because after creating high trust, high converting content, media becomes an asset that works for you 24/7. And here's the best part. With our system, Upper Hand AI, you actually don't need to figure all this out separately. You can deploy all 4 layers of leverage in one streamlined system without the need for an insanely high budget or adding an additional 40 hours of work to your week. And if you're watching this and you're thinking, okay, but how do I actually apply this to my business? This is exactly what we build for our clients. It's a plug and play creative department that runs on just a few hours of your time per month. So there'll be a link down here somewhere where you can see how it works and you can see exactly how we can set this up for you too. And so at this point, I know what you're thinking, right? We can probably just flip this all over to ChatGPT. Well, no, we're actually not even gonna touch ChatGPT because honestly, this is what everybody else is doing. And if you do what everybody else is doing, you're gonna get mediocre results just like everybody else. Because everywhere you look, it's the same robotic templates and the same regurgitated advice. And it's getting a little old. So we're not gonna do any of that. Instead, what we're doing is taking the idea of document, don't create, and seriously leveling it up. And it's actually super easy to do. Here's how. So first off, I open Slack on my phone, or you could use your voice memo app. And then I just record myself talking. No scripting, no overthinking. I'm not even thinking about hooks. It's just a complete brain dump of ideas, kind of like I'm just brainstorming with a friend or my team, or I'm explaining something to a client. Now, once I have that, I take the transcript from that voice memo and I drop that into Upper Hand AI. And automatically, it's gonna create 20 plus what we call engagement reels. So this is gonna use random footage from my iPhone of me traveling or whatever day-to-day moments that I've captured. And my editor can actually take those seemingly useless clips and pair them with this AI-generated content that's already in my voice, matches my offer, matches my brand, and then they can edit them and get them ready to post, write the captions, and do all of that. So really, there's zero effort on my part other than the voice memo. And then from there, we can get about 2 to 5, depending on the voice memo itself, complete talking head scripts on that same topic, which I can batch film in one quick session. So that's maybe 15, 20 minutes total in front of the camera, and I'm done. Now, if I wanted to go deeper, I could transform that same voice memo into a long form script too. So from start to finish, in only a single casual voice recording, I've created content that's ready to post across all formats. So you see, you don't need to spend money on 5 different apps. You only need one tool that thinks like you and works the way that you do. Now, when you have that, creating content becomes way easier and it doesn't take up any of your mental bandwidth.
So by dropping in a single long form transcript into Upper Hand AI, this is how we can get 131 posts from one single voice memo.
So if you're wondering what it looks like when the whole system's put together, we'll show you how we take just a few hours of content and turn it into a high converting, lead generating machine that runs almost completely on autopilot. So check out this video right here to see the whole process in action.